This is Women for Gun Rights with your host Amanda Suffecool, part of the DCProject.
So straight to her, straight to that. So I have with us Susan Myers, and Susan Myers is the state delegate for the DCProject for the state of Missouri. And man, she is a ball of fire, and the things that she is doing in Missouri, and it's pretty darned amazing, absolutely pretty darned amazing. And so I wanted you to have an opportunity to get to know her and to see the things that she has going on in her state. So hey Susan, thanks for joining us on Women for Gun Rights.
Hey, thanks for having me.
No problem at all. So as you know, and as our viewers know, this is a show that features women and the amazing things that those women do. And so you joined within the last, year or so, you joined the DCProject and then started to shake things up in your state?
Early, March 2020,
Okay.
before the COVID stuff hit. Yeah, I after seeing Diana Moore at a Well-Armed Woman conference and talking about bringing what they were doing on the national level back to the states, I thought, I'm going to have to do that. And so by March, I got around to signing up and got all anxious and wound up getting an invitation for DCProject to come testify before a bill, and couldn't get anyone from the DCProject to do it, so I had to go do it myself. So yeah, I kind of jumped in.
So you started by saying, is there any DCProject people that are really active in Missouri? And then we're like, well, there's this gal named Susan. So yeah, it was you jumped in with both feet, and you jumped in right at a time when there was some big things happening in your state. So why don't you tell folks about going from, okay, I'm not involved in this at all, to I can now talk all the code and all the keywords, and I know how to walk the Capitol, and how did that all go?
Yeah, you dive in and then you learn how to swim, basically, is what I did. But the Second Amendment Preservation Act, it had been filed every year since 2013. So I missed all those disappointments and struggles, and I got to come in on the last 2 years that it was filed and suffer along with them and enjoy it finally getting to the end. So I consider myself very lucky, because I can't imagine all those 8 years, all the frustration, getting so close, and then having to wait till the next year. So
they do it, it stops. They do it, it stops. They do it, it stops. So
yeah.
You're like, yeah, maybe next year. It's almost like it's a pro football team. Maybe next year.
When it's your own party too, so that's really frustrating.
So why don't you tell folks what this bill is about?
Okay, so it's not about nullifying laws like you'll hear on the news all the time. Everyone wants to say that's what our Preservation Act does. It doesn't. It basically says if a new federal gun law doesn't coincide and match up with Missouri gun laws, then Missouri resources and personnel are just going to say, do it yourself, feds. We're not going to lift a finger or a penny to help you enforce your federal gun laws that we don't with on our citizens of our state.
Okay, so these are the federal gun laws that are new, and that your state deems unconstitutional, or unconstitutional to your state constitution, or a combination of both?
Just that doesn't match what's already on federal gun law. The law is based on the anti-commandeering doctrine, which I love. It's just simply states that the federal government doesn't have the ability to force states to use their personnel and resources to enact federal laws.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be unconstitutional laws. It can just be, as I've heard someone describe it, it's Tuesday, so we don't want to do that. It doesn't have to, we don't have to have a reason to not help you enforce something we don't want to.
Okay. So it really is the unfunded portion, and so you're just not going to fund it on your behalf or your state's behalf, and if the Fed and the federal wants to
we're
follow
not trying
through.
to.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
So if they want to follow through, they're more than welcome to, but on their dime, on their time, with their employees.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. So, so you worked on this for a couple of years, along with a couple other groups, and it passed, right? So when did it go into effect?
Well, it had an emergency clause, so a lot of it was the minute it was signed, which was in June sometime, but full effect August 28th, I think. So.
Okay. Yeah, because most bills, once they're passed, they typically give you 60 days, 90 days, something like that, so that they can prepare people to receive the new laws, if you will. But an emergency clause, on the other hand, just says, take it today, here we go. It's now in
because of who we have in office, the lawmakers, thought, on the books, like now, is better than giving anybody any time to mess things up. So
okay, that makes sense. So are there any other new bills that they're working on that you're tracking or keeping your eye on?
Well, session is out right now, so the only thing going on is the court challenges to SEPA. We won the first in the circuit court, St. Louis City and County, and then Kansas City joined trying to get SEPA stopped. And we won the first circuit court battle, and they, of course, appealed it to the Missouri Supreme Court. And so that got an assigned number. And so I'm just refreshing the page, watching that all the time to see,
see what happens
when it'll come up.
So, okay, let's walk through what happens, how that happens. So it's in a base court first, and then if it wins or loses, then it goes to the circuit court, and if that wins or loses, then it goes to the Supreme Court if it's contested. So it's steps, correct?
The circuit court, and because it's a constitutional issue case, we knew whoever won, it was going to go to the Missouri Supreme Court. So either way, we knew that that's going to go next. And so that's where we're at. And what's funny and what makes me so proud of Missouri's is you don't see the federal government and the Department of Justice filing amicus briefs on cases, all the other Second Amendment preservation legislation across the country that has already been passed. As far as I know, only Missouri is the one that they're coming after because our bill has teeth and, holds municipalities and departments accountable if they violate the law. There's a $50,000 penalty that people can file suit. And so they're wanting to stop us bad, and that makes me proud.
Right, because they're like,
if they don't like it, I love it.
That means your bill is worth them making the effort to stop. That makes so much sense. So, speaking of as things move up, Dick Heller, I just heard yesterday, filed a fourth case of Heller through the courts in the hopes that it will go to the Supreme Court. So, so that's So it's fun. Who would have thought that we would have said, hey, it's fun watching the courts? It's almost like a sport. It's almost like a ball game of some sort, watching how you navigate through the courts.
Yeah, I had no idea that one person, just deciding no, just saying no, this is my line in the sand, pause off, can make a difference. So long as you have the people backing you to, afford you the luxury of fighting the fight. But yeah, one person can stamp their foot and get something done. I love it.
And
Love it.
absolutely make a difference. So you had gotten involved in DCProject because you met the amazing and persuasive Diana Muller. So how did you get involved in the Second Amendment?
She lured me in.
She did. She like reels and exactly. So how did you get involved with firearms in the first place? I mean, because I don't know if you've noticed, but you're a girl.
Right. Yeah, I'm a girl that was raised in a home where my dad, he actually, he blued guns for a local hardware store. And of course, it was all over my head. I just knew there were always parts and pieces of guns hidden all over the house, and I wasn't supposed to touch them. And we'd come back from vacation and I'd find, shotgun parts in the back of my closet and, things like that. Never complete firearms, just parts and pieces, But he never talked about teaching me to shoot or anything. I just wasn't supposed to touch them. So that's kind of sad because I would have loved to have my father teach me how to shoot. But it was actually, my boyfriend and husband, and I'd shoot here and there. We moved to the country. He made sure I could shoot my sawed-off double-barrel shotgun, legally sawed-off double-barrel shotgun, while I was home in the country on my own while he was out of town. And that was it until we got CCW in the state, and I decided to do that. And then, like anything else, if I'm going to do something, I want to be really good at it, as good as I can be. And, you're responsible for every round. So I found out about the Well-Armed Women shooting chapters and joined that as a way to get me off my tail and practice regular and all that. And I just, before I knew it, I was eat up with it. And that's how I got started and was always involved with that. And so then she pulled me in to help lead the chapter with her. So we're a team of 3 now. Dangerous combination.
There you go. So are you like any of the shooting games? Do you do any of that, or is it solely concealed carry and personal defense?
Until I started sitting on my ammo like a greedy mother hen, I shot USPSA matches, a couple local matches a month at least. I mean, I was go. And then I started noticing the price going up, and I'm like, no, I'm sitting on what I got. So I've been out of it for about a year and miss it. But yeah, I did that. And I was a new shooter, not any good, but I took my first class where I did multiple targets, and she had me do body, head on her signal. And so I was first one up, so it was beautiful, clean targets. Everyone was going to see exactly where my shots hit. And I did it, body, head. And I grinned and I said, can I quit while I'm ahead? And she said, nope, because you're going to do it again. And so I did. And I went home, got on the internet, found where I could do more of that type shooting because I needed more as soon as possible. And went the next weekend to the last local match of the year, found out everything I needed to get, and that was in November. And by February, I had all my gear and a gun. I didn't even have a 9mm pistol, so I had the gun and everything, and I was ready to go and went and shot by myself in February with a bunch of guys. They were talking to my husband when we showed up, telling him what all was gonna, and it was like, I was sitting there like, hey guys, he don't know nothing. I'm the one shooting here. So that was pretty cool.
So has he gotten involved, or is he still staying as the supporting husband who carries your ammo?
Yeah, we called him my range bag caddy for a few matches until he finally started doing it. And then my youngest son shot with us for a while, but then and my husband doesn't like sweating out in the hot sun, so they just let me go do my thing, which was fine because it was always it started out as my thing. So if they want to come, that's great. Otherwise, I'll still do it if I want to.
So they're fair weather, mild weather shooters, not even fair weather shooters. Exactly.
They're hunters and outdoorsmen, and I'm pew pew pew. So.
Got it. It's really funny because my radio partner and I, we challenged each other to do something unique and different, and so I picked USPSA for us to go and try to do, and he picked Camp Perry and the national matches, and so we ended up going there. But it's that same kind of thing where you're competing against yourself, you're competing against others, but it really is a competition against what's your numbers, how are you doing, and competing against yourself. And I kind of think it's like a running, jumping video game, really, if you will, where your skills and your strengths and your physical abilities are all tested.
Yeah, and I was a newer shooter, especially to pistol, and I thought, what better way to get used to handling a firearm and getting comfortable with it, and the manipulations, and if you're not going to have malfunctions during a match, you get the practice of all sorts of things happening. So yeah, I just love it. That's why I called my shooting page Worthwhile Fun, because yes, it's fun, and that's what surprised me when I did those multiple targets. I had no idea. I knew it was the responsible thing to do, but I didn't realize it was so doggone fun.
That it was just fun. And it's fun to learn, it's fun to do, it's fun, And that's kind of where I am. So on a periodic basis, it's great fun and entertainment. And my whole chant in my head is just don't be last, right? I just want to be in the middle. If I'm in the middle of the pack, I am happy. That's kind of where that is.
Yeah, see, now you're making me sad because I was always, real close to the bottom. And then when I quit, I was reaching mid-pack, because, I was dry fire, and then I was really practicing. And so I quit when I was mid-pack. And so I know when I go back, it's going to be like way down here. But I'll still be there. So that'll be a win.
You'll be there. And exactly. Well, and if you, I shot a 45 solely because because I had it. And I had a holster and it all, so gear-wise, I didn't have to buy anything. And so that put me in a different group, and that group then put me in a different, so that helped, actually. I think helped move you in the pack, but it was good stuff. So you are a leader now of the Well-Armed Woman? Of one of the Missouri chapters?
Yeah, me and two other ladies.
Okay.
Yes. So
tell folks about that. We know a little bit that they're women's shooting organizations, and there's 14 different women's shooting organizations across the country that have multiple chapters and multiple groups and that type of a structure. But there's really two big ones, which is the Well-Armed Woman and A Girl and a Gun. Those two are the ones that have chapters and women all across the country, and in a lot of cases they will have this same, both groups will have a chapter in the same city, because they kind of do different things within this women's shooting organization. So tell us a little bit about the Well-Armed Woman.
Yeah, so like our members can range in age. We've just opened it up where I believe someone 14, if she joins with her mother, can join now. And we have lots of older ladies also. And it's all different skill levels. Some don't even have a firearm. They come to, check it out, see what they think. We have monthly meetings where we'll have guest speakers or different topics every month, and then shooting at the range afterwards. Mostly indoor. Of course, with COVID, it was all crazy, and not much shooting going on, but sometimes, of course, we've finally found a range that'll work with us and let us offer outdoor shooting. But it's not based on any one particular thing like competition. I'm not sure if that's where a girl and a gun more is. We try and do seminars on that and show it, or we wanted to set up stages and had to cancel it recently because of heat weather, but where we show them IDPA and USPSA stages and give them a taste of what it's like to try and encourage them to get out and try it. Or the concealed carry, we had a lawyer come in and talk about, the responsibilities involved with carry, just different because we have a variety of skills and interests within the firearms community for our ladies.
That's pretty neat.
So it's always a struggle to keep the more competent shooters interested, but not scaring off the complete newbies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because there's people who come to say, I just want to see what it's all about. And if somebody's too good, then the new people are like, yeah, I can't ever do that.
Yeah, we're talking about running and gunning in Texas Stars. They're like, yeah, I'm out.
I'm out.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, that Texas Star is, that's just nasty. That's just mean and nasty. There's no...
I had one clean one, and it was in a pouring down rain. So apparently I'm really good at the Texas Star in a downpour.
So to folks, the Texas Star is actually, once you start to shoot it, it's on a pivot. So there's 5 targets that will move around. So you're shooting at your target as they're doing this.
And every time one goes off, it changes the weight. And so it changes the speed of the rotation and the swing and good stuff. Right. The folks who can sit there and just say, okay, well, it's going to come right past here, so I'm just going to aim at this spot and shoot them when they come here. I'm always in amazement at that because I'm such a slow shooter. I'm more precise, and so moving targets are a bit more struggle for me. But the downpour speeds you up or something. I don't know. I don't know. That's crazy. So I think that the difference in a piece of the difference between a girl and a gun and a well-armed woman is that a girl and a gun's focus, a lot of it goes to the competition or the preparing for competition so that you can play the gun games, the 3-gun, the 2-gun, the USPSA, the IDPA. And the well-armed woman is more range skills and personal defense. Is that right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's really cool though. What's the thought from the ladies on just the social aspect of being able to bring your gun, go to the range, shoot, learn, and make friends?
We love it, and I hope they love it. It's once a month, and when we didn't get to do it during COVID, I mean, we were just like, hey, we're meeting in this church parking lot, bring a lawn chair. We didn't do anything but sit and talk, but just to have those people of like mind, that bounce ideas off, share gear. So it's the best.
It's the
and
best.
We try and make it the best for every new member that comes along, because we did get lots of new interest in the last year and a half or whatever it's been.
Well,
with lots of ladies guns.
Yeah, there was a lot of interest in guns and the purchase of guns and the purchase of ammunition and at least in my mind, a lot of that comes from the overall 24/7 news cycle that says that there's a riot here and there's an attack over here and this is happening. And so people they're home more, they're watching the news more, and just oversaturated with, do I need to be fearful for myself and my family? And they say that they sold 8 million more guns than they anticipated in 2020. Not just 8 million new guns, but 8 million more than anticipated. So there was already the gun growth, and then that. And then 40% of those went to formerly non-gun owning households. So that means that there's a lot of brand new gun owners and brand new gun households that have to learn something some way.
Yeah, I spent so much time online in the social media gun groups. I mean, I had a list of like firearm safety and, just this list of videos that I shared with anyone and everyone I could, any ladies that joined the group, and started getting, advice and suggestions from men. I don't know how many I spoke with privately, because ladies asking questions in men's guns groups doesn't always go well. And so, yeah, I could spend all day helping ladies I never met, and they'd talk to me and cling to me, and days and days and days we'd communicate, and then I wouldn't hear from them. And it actually made me it's like, they got this. They got their wings, fly, warrior lady, fly. She was finally confident to go on and do it. And it's awesome.
That is great. That is great. So we were talking a little bit about competition, USPSA, that kind of thing. One of the things that happened in your state this past year was the DCProject had their 3-gun match. And I have a video from the prior year. So I want people to get an opportunity to kind of see this, and then we'll talk a little bit about the match that came to your state. Okay?
Okay.
So hold on a second, and this should work. Here we go. That video just makes me smile because you can see the personalities of everybody and the good times that they were having while they were doing it. So, so when when the match came to your state, what was your role? What did you do while you were there?
Well, Rhonda Ezell and I were busy being little moneymakers running a side stage.
Okay.
So in between all those running and gunnings on their breaks, and in between they'd come and lay their $10 down for a chance to win. I don't remember what, but yeah, it was a good little moneymaker.
Okay. And so you got an opportunity to talk to the shooters, and so what was the thought process, and what were they saying, and just kind of what did you get out of the match?
That everybody loves the DCProject and is so thrilled with what we're doing, and just happy to be helping. And they were so helpful and generous, and good stuff. And I finally got to actually meet some of the other DCProject ladies, so that was very cool.
Isn't it amazing though, some of the gals that are involved in the DCProject and what they are, and the breadth and the depth of just who are all involved in the organization itself.
Yep. Because it's not all cookie cutter for sure.
It is not. Yep. I mean, there's so many women and they have so many different experiences. I say that it's like going to summer camp with my heroes. There is no doubt about it. Any opportunity that you have to interact and to be with them. So in a little bit, we've got another video that will give our viewers an opportunity to kind of get an idea of some of the women from the DCProject and just the variety of who they are and why they're involved and why they stand for the Second Amendment. Because everybody's reason is completely different. So yours, if you had to say why are you so concerned and why are you so involved in the Second Amendment?
Yeah, see, I've thought of that because I didn't have some life-altering event that took me there, but I always knew that if something would happen, I was going to take people with me if I could. If I was going to end up going out, it's going to be with a fight. And so what better way for little old me to fight than with something that will make me a little more equal to my, adversary, So.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
For me, it's that somebody ought to do something. And then one day I woke up and said, I guess I am somebody. Why am I waiting for somebody else to do it? So get off the sofa, make a difference. And it just resonates with me. So, and I've seen you in
I
action.
joined thinking I could,
I've seen you in
joined
action.
thinking I would help.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Well, I joined thinking I would help whoever was in charge in Missouri, because I'm an assistant, I like to help whoever's out there doing it. And they're kind of, so I look at it as I'm assisting Diana here at the state level in my state. So I'm still an assistant, I'm not leading anything. I'm just, I'm just getting it done.
Well, it's really funny because there's so many women doing so many unique things that you don't have to be a groundbreaker. You can just be like, okay, I'm going to take what they're doing over there and I'm going to copy it here. And so it just makes it easier, if you will, that way. Watching what other people are doing and then mirroring it or mimicking it or going from that in that direction. So, newest news is David Chipman. Did you see that?
Who's that?
Who's that?
Isn't he unemployed or something?
Yesterday's news. That's what that is. That's who he is. So, your thoughts. So, well, first let's fill everybody else in. David Chipman was the president's nominee to head the ATF, so the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, the BATFE, if you will. And The interesting part is that they started out and they came out and said that, well, he's worked for the ATF for 25 years. What they didn't put out, and they kind of kept behind the scenes, was that then he worked for the Giffords Foundation, Everytown for Gun Safety, Shot Spotter, and some other organizations for 10 years that are all anti-gun organizations. So they wanted to head the United States government's organization that monitors and sets precedent for firearms, and they wanted an anti-gun guy to do that. That didn't make sense, and that just did not resonate with the pro Second Amendment folks. Okay, if we have to have regulation, then we should at least have someone who understands where the lines are, or at least understands there are lines, not that it's all anti-gun. And so Chipman was nominated. It went into a Senate committee, and in that Senate committee, he did not get a resounding yes, take him. So it was a tie vote, which means that it got pulled to the Senate floor, but it never got called for vote because they didn't believe they had enough votes. And then you and I and every other pro Second Amendment person started to do what?
Reach out, make our voices heard, say no to Chipman.
Say no. So how did you go about it? How did you have the gals in your state go about it? What were the recommendations, and what was the activities that took place in Missouri?
I don't remember actually having to do, my girls are go-getters, so there was no call to action. It was, hey, I told them this, and hey, I told them that. So on that one, I'm always putting out calls, but with Chipman, people were pretty much, yeah, I got this. So
I got this. Yeah. I'm in it. It was really funny because he left his resume up on LinkedIn. And it was like, this is not complimentary to you at all, dude. Not at all. And then photos started to show up. People from the ATF actually testified to say he's not a leader. He's not a boss man. Do not put him there. And so the voices were heard. But this week they've actually said that. So now our fingers are crossed that we'll get a new, different, unique person. And you can't ever say, oh, well, it can't be worse than Chipman, because it probably can be if they really, really look. But
yeah, and I was surprised there had only been one Senate confirmation to that position ever since when was it, 2006 is when they came up with their position, and only once has one confirmed. So I'm like, well, then let's just go without,
Yeah, well, except they have an acting somebody, and the acting somebody has the same rules and the same abilities, and the acting ones are also have not necessarily been pro Second Amendment. So it's always a big struggle to try to lead this, because it just seems as if our government doesn't respect our Constitution. That would be what it seems like to me, but let me not put words in your mouth. What's your thought on that?
Well, yeah, I saw something going around last night, and then this morning, I forget what website, but they've labeled the U.S. Constitution, the document where you can look it up and read it. It has a warning, harmful language, The U.S. Constitution has harmful language. So, yeah, I think they're, unfriendly to the Constitution, that they're scared of that. I love that Biden's, he said he would have made an exemplary director of the ATF. He's a gun owner himself. It's like, what does that even mean? That qualifies him to try and take all the other guns. He would still get to keep his, whatever he wanted everyone else to, but he's a gun owner himself. So, we should just swallow that pill. It's crazy.
It's not happening. Back to the Constitution, when you say that they put the warning on there, I don't understand why they even need the warning, since they've stopped teaching how to read cursive writing. Pretty soon it's going to be like hieroglyphics in the first place.
Well, I'm surprised they haven't treated it like the Bible and had interpretations of the Constitution. I'm making a joke, but they probably do, have...
I've seen some
books, where they twist it. Yeah.
Textbooks where they've said that the Second Amendment says the military has the right to own a gun, was their interpretation of the Second Amendment. Yeah.
Yeah, textbook. That was the first clue that not to trust what it said.
Right. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, hey, I want you to... this was put together before you joined the DC Project, but I want you to get an opportunity to see this video. And this one, when we come back, we're gonna talk a little bit about the different gals that are involved in the DC Project and the different reasons why they're involved. So let me go to this and then get your thoughts on it.
The DC Project. 50 nonpartisan women from 50 states who descend on our nation's capital, who put a real name and face and share real stories of those who support the Second Amendment.
For me, the Second Amendment is about family heritage.
My Second Amendment right gives me the right to choose.
To defend against hate crimes.
The Second Amendment is my right to protect my family.
The Second Amendment gives me the right to decide when I need protection.
What the Second Amendment means to me is my right to self-defense.
Because you should never be denied a chance to protect yourself and your loved ones.
Independence.
Bad guys are bigger and stronger. My firearm levels the playing field against someone trying to hurt me.
To me, it means survival.
It's my responsibility.
A 911 response averages 22 minutes.
I am my own first responder.
I am my own security.
Because some believe no means yes.
It's a peace of mind.
Provide food for my family.
Recreation and sport.
It's my liberty.
For the protection of my children.
It is my right to choose.
My safety.
I'm worth protecting.
I don't want to live in fear.
Because of the Second Amendment, I have confidence that I can take care of myself.
My right to life.
The Second Amendment means that I can choose to never be a victim.
I refuse to be a victim.
I don't want to be a victim. I want to be prepared and well trained.
It's all about liberty.
The Second Amendment gives me confidence in our nation's present and future.
Gun rights equals women's rights.
Because girls matter.
What the Second Amendment means to me is legacy.
Legacy.
And legacy.
The Second Amendment is my birthright as an American.
And mine too.
These women gather once a year from across the nation to represent millions of others who believe in the sanctity of the Second Amendment. Please show them your support, because ultimately, their efforts are supporting all of us. Learn more at DCProject.info. Thank you.
Isn't that amazing?
I'll join them arm in arm anywhere.
I know. It's just when you start to look at the reasons and everybody puts together what their thought is as to why. And you just see how broad a brush it really is as to what they're doing and why they're doing it and why they're all coming together.
Yeah. And party isn't part of it. I love that we can disagree on so many other things. I mean, probably have heated debates. I don't even want to imagine how those would go. But on this, it's solidarity. I love it.
Right.
That's what I think will help save it too. That it's not a party thing. 2A is for everybody.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, 2A is for everybody. So I think that the thing that the anti-gunners aren't expecting is the fact that with the 8 million new guns in 2020, with the growth of women and guns, with the explosion in personal defense and concealed carry and all of this stuff happening, that now when they come for guns, they're not coming for some big bearded plaid shirted guy's guns. They're coming for your guns and my guns, the gun you carry in your purse or the gun you carry on your hip or the gun that you compete with or play one of the shooting games with. They're talking about disarming me and disarming you. And all of a sudden it gets a whole lot more personal.
Yeah, and I've actually worked that in my testimony this year. I mentioned that I carry a gun that holds more than 10 rounds and I carry a spare 12-round magazine. Some beard like without firearms have saying what I choose for my personal protection. It's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And then I always end with, so long as the criminal element has theirs, I'll be hanging on to mine.
I'll be hanging on to mine.
Yeah. You can't argue with that.
You cannot. I tell them that the bad guy gets to pick the person, the place, the time, the circumstances. The only thing that I get to pick is the tool of self-defense, should the government allow it, and the amount of training that I have with that tool, should the price of ammo allow it. But those two, so that's the only piece I get to pick. So they can't... just tell me, oh, we'll just take your gun. It'll be fine. It will be fine. It won't be.
No.
And there's so many gals that know why it won't be fine.
Right. Yeah, it's just unacceptable. And with Afghanistan, I mean, the women and girls, I mean, I just had to post, it's like, don't even talk to me about what you don't think I should have. I'm done. Think of those women, I mean, leaving all those weapons over there, I might have been okay with if they had left them for the women and girls, in that country, but they didn't. They left them for the people that are going to kill them.
Right.
So don't talk about taking me and mine. Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's not, that just makes you heartsick. Absolutely heartsick.
Yeah.
And since we've been there for 20 years, think of it, there's a whole generation who grew up believing almost like Americans believe, and now their world is completely upside down.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, next session my testimonies may get a little, I don't know. I'm done. It's not even a conversation. Just go away, hush, talk about something else.
Because you can see what's happening, and you see the reason why we need to stand strong and why we need to fight in the United States, and why we need our legislators to understand where our thoughts are, where our beliefs are, and what matters to us.
And why our founding fathers put it in there and fought to put it in there with their families and lives at risk. I mean, they didn't just willy-nilly write it. It mattered, and they lost their lives in many cases fighting for us to have it. So I'm done. We're done. We're keeping our Second Amendment. Pause off. I'm just done.
Pause off.
Sorry.
It's gonna be. Don't be sorry. That's the issue. Is don't be sorry. Be as adamant as you are. So one of the things that we have an opportunity to do is to reach newer fledgling, if you will, senators and congressmen, your state level, because generally somebody doesn't get to the federal level unless they've worked their way through the state level. And so having an opportunity to tell them pause off on the state level makes a difference as time goes by. So if you got to say something to somebody who is running for office who hasn't yet even held office about the Second Amendment, what would you tell them?
Well, no compromise. It's everything I just rattled off. It's no more chipping away. It's not necessary. It doesn't reduce gun violence. Not letting me carry a spare 12-round magazine is going to save someone's life. No, it's not. So just stop it. It's phony arguments, tugging at the heartstrings, but as Diana and others have said, our side has heartstrings, stories too, and they're real, and we want the ability to defend ourselves. We are worth defending by any means necessary, so don't monkey with my means, I guess.
Don't monkey with my means.
Sorry.
That makes,
I have my own way of putting things.
That makes the most amount of sense. Don't monkey with my means. So, okay, well.
My own hashtag, great.
There you go. Exactly. So is there anything else that you'd like our viewers to know about Missouri, about the DCProject, or about you as we kind of get close to wrapping up here?
Well, if they're from Missouri, please go to dcproject.info and join, and your info will get kicked to me, and I'll try and get you lined up to be a delegate in the state, so that you get to talk to your district representative and senator and tell them don't monkey with your means either. And otherwise, when session starts, I'll be keeping track of every piece of 2A legislation. I post it all on my website. People follow me to find out what's going on, and it's like, well, it's out there to be found, but people just don't go look. And I never did either. And so shame on me, but now I'm knee deep in it. I put on my teal chucks and go up and walk the Capitol, and if they don't remember my name, I hope they'll eventually remember the teal for 2A sneakers and know, she's here to say pause off again. And, if you want to help me do that, reach out, join. We need more ladies.
Yep, and many hands make light work. That's the thing, is that the more gals that are involved, then the easier it gets on everybody, because everybody takes just a little slice of it. And it makes a huge difference. And you guys all look amazing when you're all wearing teal t-shirts in the gallery together.
Yep.
So, well, Susan Myers, I just want to thank you very much for joining me on Women for Gun Rights, and it's been great. And we will, folks. We're going to sign off now, and we will see you again next week when we have another gal from another state. Actually, California is coming to us next week. And I'm Amanda Suffecool, and this is Women for Gun Rights, and I'll see you next Friday.
Night.